Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. As you have here the officially confirmed price of the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. Obviously, the Series S was confirmed, I think, Monday of this week, and then the Series X has only just been now confirmed today. And this is quite a weird reveal. Usually, you'd see these reveals at a big press conference or something like E3. Obviously, that didn't happen this year, but at least a big reveal live stream like the one that Xbox had at the game showcase. Either way, we finally got it. There it is. The Series X is revealed at $499. Finally, we get the legitimate pricing of the most powerful quote unquote console. Um, let's look at what we have here. So the release date's going to be November 10th, and you can start pre-ordering September 22nd, which is pretty cool. So in about, I guess, 2 weeks, maybe a week from now, 2 weeks, yeah, 2 weeks, you can start your pre-orders. And this is really interesting because look at this, side by side. I mean, here's the spec differences from Charlie Intel. So you can see here, CPU is the same. The Zen 2 CPU clocked at 3.8 gigahertz on the Xbox Series X, and it's clocked at 3.6 gigahertz on the Series S. The GPU is actually this. No, it's a little different. It's a little different. It is different. The Xbox Series X has an AMD RDNA 2 GPU with 50 computing units clocked at 1.8 gigahertz, and then the AMD RDNA 2. So it's looking to be like a less powerful graphics card here, with 20 computing units at 1.5 gigahertz. GPU power, like I said, it's 12 teraflops on the Series X, and it's 4 teraflops on the Series S, if that matters to you. And then the system on the chip, you have the custom 7 nanometer enhanced socket and custom 7 nanometer. So it's the same CPU, basically what I was talking about. And the RAM, ooh, the differences in RAM. Okay, this is where the Series S kind of takes a hit here. So it has 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM on the Series X, while you only get 10 gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM on the Series S. Both are clocked differently at different speeds, so you'll be able to do 10 gigabytes at 560 gigabytes per second, and also 6 gigabytes at 336 gigabytes per second, while on the Series S you'll only be able to do 8 gigabytes at 224 gigabytes per second and 2 gigabytes at 56 gigabytes per second. Performance targets. So these are the target ranges that the console is trying to go for, that Microsoft wants these consoles to go for, and you'll see the difference here now. So it can go to 4K at 60 frames per second or up to 120 frames per second. That's actually pretty good. For something like a console to be able to run potentially at 4K, 120 FPS is really impressive in my eyes, and we'll just have to wait and see. I think, honestly, that target won't be reached. 120 frames per second is, I think, unrealistic for this type of console. I think 60 FPS is more viable, especially with these mass open world RPGs or any type of game like that, where it's just massively open world. So we'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, we'll have to see how the games play. And then the Series S targets 1440p at 60 frames per second, and it targets the target up to 120 frames per second. Now, I think a more reasonable explanation to this could be maybe if you lower the resolution to 1080p, you'll be able to reach 120 frames per second a lot more easier than, say, at 1440p to 120 frames per second. I think you'd be dropping a lot of frames, especially with the games that are going to be coming out this generation. Now, the storage, this is also going to be... Oh, okay. This is going to be a big one right here. I think, in my opinion, this is a big one. Now, if you don't know, these both consoles are going to have expansion cards provided by Seagate. There's a specific type of SSD that is only provided by Seagate from what I know, and you can expand it. But here's the interesting part. So the Series X on launch, on release day, out of the package, you're going to get 1 terabyte of PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD. Now, what is SSD and what can it do? Now, if you don't know, SSD is a faster storage unit. It's just basically you loading times will be reduced to like 0 to none, almost. The idea is that you're going to have a faster experience, a better experience, a more seamless experience with SSD. Now, here's the other thing on the Xbox Series S. It is the same SSD, but you're getting less of it. So you're going to get only 512 gigabytes of PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD. NVMe, I meant to say, SSD. So on 1 terabyte versus 512 terabytes, and with the look of how big these games are, I mean, on the Series S, you're going to be buying an expansion card like day one. I mean, there's no way 512 gigabytes will be enough to carry the size of these massive games that are going to be releasing on that. I guarantee that 512 gigabytes won't even last you maybe even half a year or the year of the release. Backwards compatibility, everyone knows lots of titles Xbox enjoys, and we enjoy that Xbox likes to do that for us. So backwards compatibility all around for almost a majority of the games that have been released on 360 and the original Xbox. And here is the other thing that I was talking about, which is the disk drive. You will only get a disk drive with the Series X, which will be a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray disk drive. And on the Series S, you're only getting a digital-only console. So if you prefer the physical versions of the consoles, you got to think on that, man. You got to think on that, because me personally, I'm going to be buying the disc versions, the ones with the disc drives on both consoles, both for the PS5 and the Xbox One. So for me, it's going to be the Series X, but maybe for you, you may be considering money problems. Money problems are a huge issue with a majority of the consumer base of consoles. And I think that just goes for everyone. How much are you willing to spend on these next gen consoles? Are you willing to wait for a year or two? And especially with the current situation going on around the world, it may be just very difficult for you to attain said money and buy a console, whereas you could buy something else that would be much more useful. So there it is. The price difference is $200 plus tax. I mean, you're really looking at something that's difficult for people to choose. It shouldn't be too difficult, in my opinion. I mean, if you were willing to spend the money and you're willing to get the better graphics, go for the Series X. It's a way better version, way more optimal version, and in my opinion, the true next gen jump in power. Me personally, right now, I have the Xbox One X, and that in and of itself will be a jump of power to the Series X. So that's my take on that. It's why I'm going to get the 4K Ultra HD. I want to get the better specs. And that's basically it. And also the storage is very interesting. As I pointed out, you may not even last a year with 512 gigabytes with the huge games that are coming out on these next gen consoles. Also, I forgot to mention, both do come with an HDMI 2.1, so you will be able to run 4K and at 120 FPS if you'd like to, or if it even can reach that target. But yeah, the main difference being the price, and now we just have to wait for the PlayStation 5's pricing, because really that's really what we gotta wait for. We have to see what it's gonna be like. Because people are memeing the fact that Sony's gonna just screw over Xbox. Oh no, dude. It'd be funny if PlayStation 5 just comes out swinging saying that their next gen console with the disc drive will be $449. That'd be hilarious to see, but who knows? I think it's gonna be the same as it's gonna be the same as the Xbox Series X. Now, this is what I'm telling you guys. So look at this. So the price of 1 terabyte SSD for the Series X is literally $200. I'm not sure if that picture is real, but I'm pretty sure it is real. It's what I'm telling you guys. So is it really worth buying a Series S, especially if you're going to be upgrading? You're going to have to buy SSD, or are you just going to be deleting your games? Doing a really good job with this. It's crazy to see that the Xbox Series S is going to have the same CPU as the Xbox Series X. Obviously, you're going to take a bunch of hits with the Series S. Lower SSD storage provided to you at launch. You're not going to have a disk drive. And that's basically it. I mean, also the graphics card is going to be clocked at a lower speed, I'm pretty sure, from what I saw there, and less RAM. So those are things to think about. Leave in the comments below what you guys think. Either way, guys, it's been Footy. Goodbye. Have a good one.